Bullet Witch is an old third-person shooter game that had a bit of a cult following when it released on Xbox 360 in the 360's early days, and we never heard much more about it after, but now it's suddenly been re-released or remastered on PC. And the weird thing about it for me was I played this game like crazy. Like, I played through this game 4 or 5 times, and going back to it was weirdly familiar. But also I remember what was impressive about the game at the time, and it was pretty much just the physics of objects in the world. I remember even the visuals not being great for its time, and not a ton has changed here. You can see a bit of an up-res in terms of resolution, like you can go up to 1080p 4K I guess now. You can see the main character Alicia has had at least her main weapon been like up-res in terms of texture quality, it seems. But other than that, everything about the game remains the exact same as it was more than 10 years ago. And when it was a game that released 10 years ago and it was like it wasn't very impressive, you can imagine how it is to return to it 12 years later as sort of a new game. But either way, you play as Alicia, I think it's Alicia, who is a witch who has sort of, it's the end of the world, it's the apocalypse, a virus has broken out, and you are the savior essentially to come and take out these zombie army guys and take down tanks with special abilities. So on top of your gun rod, or your rod I believe, which is basically a broomstick, you can drop a bunch of special sort of magic abilities, like you can rain down lightning, and I remember it looked impressive at the time, it doesn't look very good now. But you can drop down a really powerful attack on your enemies in a certain area, which is used also to break down barricades in the world and sort of progress through the game. But your weapon you can unlock, you start off as an assault rifle, but you can unlock like a shotgun or like a sniper rifle type thing for it, and that is your main weapon. There's only a couple of them, and basically it's the same gun but different rates of fire. And you traverse through these huge like levels and areas, but the thing about it is the levels are incredibly sparse. You will walk from one area to the next and spend a good chunk of that time just walking. You'll take out a few enemies, and then you will spend the best part of a minute or even two sometimes just walking to the next area. And the main thing is there's areas of the map that are cut off by these coloured magic barriers, and you explode these giant zombie brain things in the sky called geists I believe. And the most impressive thing about them is if you sort of grab their aggro, they will pick up things from the world like vehicles and light posts and everything else, and they will throw them at you, and they can pretty much take you down in one hit. But other than that, like, the levels are fairly linear. There's no real collectibles as such. There's nothing really to make you go off the beaten track or any submissions really to do. You just go around the world killing the same enemies over and over again in this unimpressive bland world that feels very dull. As well as that, for a game that released in 2018, the pop-in is insane. Like how enemies and the world will populate just a few feet in front of you, and when you have these sort of huge open long streets of nothing, it looks so weird then when you see things pop in just 20 or 30 feet in front of you. And things will pop in and out. It's not even just like once you get so close it'll pop in and that's it. It'll pop in, you'll get a little bit closer and it'll pop out, and you go a little bit further in and it pops out again. It's kind of baffling in a weird way, given like it's not really a technical game. All it feels like all the bugs and problems from the original game of 12 years ago or so are still here. I had a bit of a nostalgia trip playing this game, but really that's all it was a very quick trip down memory lane of listening to my emo music and playing this game. And very quickly I sort of, it was like a little quick roller coaster. Like, yeah, this is fun, right? I remember this, and it's over, and you're like, I don't really care anymore. It's not that good of a game. Years later, it's really like hasn't aged well whatsoever. Unless you're in my boat where you played the game before and you just kind of want another trip down memory lane, and maybe this time play at 60 frames a second, a high resolution, and go, man, remember this game? Um, Other than that, if you're just looking for a third-person shooter on Steam, there are a million others out there that are probably better. So, unfortunately, I can't recommend this game. It's fun for those who know of its heritage and everything, but for anyone else, it's just a subpar, dull shooter.